Om Sri Mahaganapathye namah Saraswatyai namah Om Shri Gurubhyo namah Paradevataye namah Om Sri Ramachandraya namah Sadguru Saishwaraye namah Om Sairam Om Asahayasahayaya namah. Now let us hear the chapters of Sri Sai Satcharita written by Hemat Pant, based on Sri Sai Satcharitam written in Malayalam by N.Somashekaran, translated by Sulini.V.Nair. Chapter 7. The Ocean of Compassion. Sai incarnated only to take on all our pains and tribulations and to sacrifice his body for the sake of his devotees. Baba was a yoga avatar who amazed everyone. He knew all yogic practices, including the 6 processes, Dauti, Khanda Yoga, Samadhi, etc. Samadhi was his natural state. Who is Sai? Was he a Hindu? Was he a Muslim? If anyone considered him a Hindu, he seemed like a Muslim in appearance. If anyone considered him a Muslim, he seemed just like an ideal Hindu devotee. No one could say for sure who he was. He was both as well as neither. He was very keen to celebrate the Ramanavami festival and at the same time permitted the sandal procession of the Muslims. During the Ramanavami festival, Baba encouraged wrestling competitions and rewarded participants with horses, bangles and turbans. During the Gokulashtami, he got the Gopal Khala ceremony duly performed. During the Eid festival, he encouraged Muslims to say their prayers in his masjid. Once, during the Muharram festival, some Muslim devotees wished to construct a tabut in the masjid, keep it there for some days and then take it in a procession through the village. Baba gladly agreed. Does this mean Baba was a Muslim? If so, why were his ears pierced as per the Hindu custom? Does this simply imply Baba was a Hindu? How could this be when he advocated the practice of circumcision? Though Nana Sahib Chandorkar had ascertained that Baba was not circumcised himself. Though he lived in a masjid, Sai constantly kept a dhuni like the Hindus. He constantly ground grains on the hand mill, blew the conch and rang bells, performed oblations in the fire, sang bhajans and gave food, all of which were against Muslim practices. So how could he be called a Muslim? The best of Brahmins and Agnihotris prostrated at his feet, leaving aside their orthodoxy, status or ego. Where did Baba belong? Which was his hometown? Such questions remained only until one had his darshan. After the darshan, the mind fell silent with no more questions. No one could decide if Baba was a Hindu or a Muslim. What does religion or caste mean to one completely devoid of body consciousness? He saw all with equal vision. He did not differentiate based on caste or religion. He ate meat and fish along with the fakirs. If dogs touched the dishes with their mouths as he ate, he did not object or drive them away. What is to be said of Sai, who manifested such an amazing nature? Baba's darshan is obtained only because of the merit from previous lives. Without such merit, it is impossible. His glory cannot be explained. Many sannyasis and sadhaks aspiring for salvation came to Baba and sought his advice. Baba constantly chanted Allah Malik and was the least interested in debates and arguments. He was calm and controlled and preached the essence of Vedanta to his devotees. Who was Baba? Nobody could say till the end. He was verily God in human form. Though he was omniscient, he feigned ignorance. It was only when he occasionally revealed devotees' deepest secrets that they experienced his wondrous omniscience. Baba did not care for the honors of this world. The villagers of Shirdi considered him an incarnation of God. The ignorant fool that I am, how am I to describe his Leelas? He got almost all the temples in Shirdi renovated, be it the Shani temple, Ganapati temple, Shankar Parvati temple, village deity, even the Maruti temple. He freely distributed among devotees the dakshina he received and advised them to use the money for good purposes. They received it with devotion and felt blessed and happy. Baba was the greatest among doctors. Many were cured of their ailments merely by his darshan. Some were cured by his touch. The wicked were inspired to leave their ways and walk the path of righteousness. The blind fell at his feet and gained eyesight, and the lame were able to walk. These miraculous stories spread like wildfire, and people started flocking to Shirdi. In the morning, Baba sat near the dhuni, sometimes without taking a bath, absorbed in meditation. In the early days, he wore a small white turban on his head, a dhoti around his waist, and a long shirt. Those days, Baba examined patients and administered medicines. All of them recovered. Baba was soon famous as the doctor who never failed. Listen to this incident. Once, a devotee's eyes became red and swollen. There was no doctor available in Shirdi. The simple villagers brought him to Baba. Baba pounded some marking nuts, made 2 balls of them and thrust them into each eye. Then he wrapped a cloth bandage around them. The next day, he removed the bandage and poured water over the man's eyes. The swelling subsided and his eyes became white and clear. Such a treatment was unheard of, but it cured the illness. Sai was a great yogi. He was well versed in Hatha Yoga. His yogic practice was amazing. Sometimes after his bath, he took out his intestines through the mouth, cleaned them and placed them to dry. Those who saw this got alarmed. He could also separate his limbs from his body. Once, a man saw Baba's limbs lying here and there around the masjid. Terrified, he turned and ran to inform the village officers that Baba had been murdered. But then he decided not to, fearing the consequences. The next day, he somehow gathered courage and went to the masjid. And there, he was stunned to find Baba there, looking hale and hearty. The hapless man was unable to fathom what was real, the sight he had seen the previous day, or what he now saw before his eyes. Baba, the divine doctor, found joy in his patient's happiness. The compassionate Sai did not mind undergoing any amount of pain and suffering in the process. The following incident reveals his most merciful and all-pervasive nature. It was the Diwali of 1910. Baba was seated before the dhuni with devotees around him. His darshan and nectarine words filled their hearts with joy. Occasionally, Baba dropped firewood into the dhuni, causing the flames to leap. Suddenly, Baba thrust his arm into the flames. Devotees were shocked. Madhavrao Deshpande rushed towards Baba and pulled him away, holding him by his waist. "Baba, what is this?" he cried. This brought Baba back to external consciousness. "Shama," said the compassionate Mother Sai, "do you know a boy fell into the furnace, and when his mother, a blacksmith wife, got up suddenly hearing her husband call her, she forgot that the baby was on her lap. She was working the bellows of the furnace. I immediately thrust my hand into the furnace and saved the child. I don't mind my arm getting burned. I'm glad I could save the child. I'm glad." Baba's arm was badly burnt. Nana Sahib brought Dr. Paramanand, but Baba refused to remove the bandage that was tied on his arms and show him the wound. Baba kept making excuses each day, and finally Dr. Paramanand returned. "Allah is my doctor," said Baba. But Baghoji Shinde, the leper devotee, emerged most fortunate in this matter. Baba allowed him to massage ghee on the wound and dress it. Bhagoji Shinde made the most of this great blessing. What are we to understand from this? It was only to bless Bhagoji Shinde that Baba took his service. Bhagoji was deeply distressed due to leprosy and the suffering caused by his past actions. He lived with shrunk fingers and his stinking body was full of pus. Other than service of the divine, what else could have brought him peace and blessing? Even after his arm healed, Baba allowed Bhagoji to continue the seva until his Mahasamadhi. What was this other than Sai's limitless mercy to his dear devotee? Listen to yet another of the incomparable Sai's wonderful Leelas. Dada Saheb Kaparde from Amaravati came to Shirdi accompanied by his wife and son. Soon the son fell ill with fever and in a few days it developed into bubonic plague. The couple was terrified. But Baba spoke calmly. He said, "Do not worry. The overcast sky will clear just now. All will be well." He lifted his kafni to the waist to reveal 4 large egg-sized buboes. Then he said, "See how much I endure for the sake of my devotees. Their difficulties are mine." Saints take upon themselves the pain and suffering of their devotees. Their hearts are softer than butter. Butter melts only if exposed to heat, but the hearts of saints melt simply hearing of the heat of others' pain. Listen to yet another Leela that reveals Baba's love for his devotees. The great devotee Nana Sahib was transferred to Pandharpur. He considered this a great good fortune. He decided to visit Shirdi along with his family. Since it was a hurried decision, he was not able to inform anyone in Shirdi. His idea was to go to Pandharpur after receiving the darshan of his Vittala. Baba, the all-knowing Sai, was aware of this. Just as Nana Sahib approached Nimgaon, a few miles from Shirdi, an interesting miracle unfolded at the masjid. Baba was talking with Mahasalpati, Appa Shinde and Kashiram. Suddenly he said, "The doors of Pandari are open. Let us 4 do some bhajan." Then they began to sing together, and as Nana Sahib neared the masjid, the singing got louder and more enthusiastic. The devotees joined in with great fervor. In a short while, Nana Sahib reached the masjid and prostrated before Sai. He prayed, "Swami, we are going to Pandharpur. Please come with us and stay there with us." Hearing this prayer, the devotee said with amazement, "Nana, this invitation is not needed. Baba already spoke of going to Pandharpur and staying there." Nana tearfully laid his head upon Baba's feet. Baba blessed him and gave him udhi. There is no end to Baba's stories, but let me stop here for now, reserving more for the next chapter. The omnipresent Sai knows everything. A human birth is great good fortune, and yet do we realize it? If we do not realize the significance of this birth, it will be a great sin. We will discuss this in the following chapter. End of chapter 7. Om Asahayasahayaya namah.